Now for a remarkable success story from Wales, which is both moving and inspiring.
Josie Darby has been meeting an all-girl choir from South Wales called Angelicus, who are all still at school. But the story of the formation of the choir has a personal tragedy at its heart.
It doesn't get much bigger than primetime Saturday night TV, and that's where the girls of Angelicus Celtis found themselves earlier this summer, when they reached the semi-final of Britain's Got Talent. Away from the bright lights of TV, the girls are being put through their paces by founder John Howell Williams, who formed the choir in West Wales with the help of his wife Jean and their son Jeremy.
We don't normally enter competitions, but we thought this would be a wonderful experience for the choristers, and it was, in mixing with celebrities, doing lots of broadcasts and travelling, and the choristers came away from it that much wiser and fuller.
What kinds of things have you done as a choir?
We've performed at Royal Albert Hall and in Covent Gardens. It is an amazing experience when singing with the choir in different venues like that.
All the Angelicus girls are also members of John Howell's long-established Howell Girls Choir and Boys Singers, formed by John and Jean over 50 years ago.
My father would lead the choristers, particularly in the tuition and stage performance, but Mum then also played a very strong pastoral role in the caring and giving nurturing and support.
What do you enjoy about singing with Angelicus?
It's more than just singing. We share the same interests and we care for each other, and we become a family.
Where does this love of music come from for you?
It started when I was a child. I had polio and meningitis, and recovered fortunately, a few that had recovered, but I couldn't take an interest in sport. But I had an old record player and old records, and I enjoyed playing and listening to them. But it encouraged me at that time to go in for the arts.
But the rapid success of Angelicus has grown out of a very real personal tragedy for the Williams family, which happened in May 2015, before the choir's first performance.
We both got in the car, and then the accident happened. I was taken to hospital seriously ill, and Jean was killed. I couldn't make sense at all. But I am a Christian, and my belief was a tremendous help to me, and then to give me hope as the time went on. So I'm very fortunate. And then we had so many of the choristers, all of them, and their parents, and hundreds of people were so supportive to myself and to Jeremy. So, but the religion was a very, very important part.
She was more than a pianist. Her soft ways and her smile, very caring as well. She's an amazing lady.
Everything we do with the choristers is basically an extension of what Mum stood for. So every note they sing, I personally dedicate to Mum, and I know that she's here and very proud of every chorister and what they're doing.
Jean wouldn't have wished that any choir of mine would stop because she passed away. She was so enthusiastic about the choirs, and she'd have been thrilled with the Angelicus, I know that.
It's very sad that she didn't get to see us, but we know that she's looking over us, and we're singing for her.
Whenever we're singing, we always think of Jean, and we always do our best to make her proud.
At the funeral service, the Angelicus girls were an integral part of saying farewell to Jean Howell, singing Be Still My Soul, an emotional hymn they're going to perform for us again today.
The words are very, very meaningful, far more meaningful after the tragedy, as if they're telling you something. And they're very beautiful, quite hurtful, and yet they give you a tremendous amount of faith in your religion. So I'm very fond of it.
on Caldy Island, I'm keen to find out about day-to-day life in this beautiful monastery.
So what does life entail for you here day to day?
Well, we have our first service of vigils at 3:30 and we're in church 7 times a day.
And what about contact with the outside world?
We do have the internet if we need it, but we limit our time on it. I've got 30,000 books in that library over there, so I get better information from that. Yeah.
And what actually brought you here?
My sister had moved to Wales and she sent me a postcard from Wales, from Caldy Island. She visited and said, oh, you can make a retreat there. And I decided, oh, okay, I'll go. And when I got here, I immediately felt at home. Some mysterious way I felt called by God to be here. And, it's very difficult to describe, but that's what I felt at the time, and it just went from there, really.
David, you also write poetry, and the beauty of this island is something that I very much get from your poetry. How do you write?
Well, I never sit down to a blank page. I can't write like that. What tends to happen is a phrase or a line comes to me in prayer or when I'm out walking, and I know there's something there, there's a poem there. I write about saints, I write about prayer, I write about monastic life, but also if there's something happening in the world, then quite often I might try and write a poem about it. I've recently written a poem about refugee crisis.
Does your faith guide you in your writing of poetry?
My faith informs everything I write.
Well, I would love to hear one of your poems. Would you be kind enough to read us one?
Yeah, perhaps I'll read the title poem from my book, Delayed by Rough Seas. The Celtic pilgrim sailor saints set out to find the promised land in open boats of skins stretched out on wood. Exiles for the love of Christ, they hoped to reach their true home. Hunger and thirst they knew, knowing heaven's fullness. Sailing by the stars, encountering demons, storms without, within. What was important was the journey, delayed by God to teach them secrets of the ocean, their inner lives. Fearless they braved the angry sea, but still they feared the final journey. We all must travel to God's presence, into the dark, unknown, alone.